Part 14. Transformed into a comic book artist. Author, Miao by Sheng Wu. Chapter 134. Half an hour later, Susiana received a call from Zhao Jing, saying that he was at the door. 597936*, this is the password, come in by yourself, I'll put on my clothes. Because Susiana mentioned hello to the security guard at the door, Zhao Jing and Chen Rui were not stopped. Zhao Jing sighed. Before making the call, he and Chen Rui knocked on the door for a long time, but no one opened the door at all. He thought Susiana was not at home. Now it turned out that he didn't hear the call. With a dumbfounded emotion, Zhao Jing entered the password and then entered the door with Chen Rui. As for why he and Chen Rui were together, they naturally met in front of the gate of Yunqian Mansion. As soon as they arrived at the living room, they saw Susiana wrapped up tightly like a small ball coming out of the room. This situation made the two of them startled. Teacher Miaobi. Chen Rui couldn't help it, we two don't look like people who would do crazy things. Is it necessary to wrap it up so tightly? Chen Rui complained in his heart. What are you thinking about? I'm just afraid of the cold, Susiana said angrily, there's no air conditioning in the living room. Well, Zhao Jing and Chen Rui were speechless. Then the three of them sat directly at the dining table. Susiana suddenly thought of something, returned to her room, took out 3 bags of potato chips, left 2 bags in front of Chen Rui and Zhao Jing, then went to the refrigerator and took 2 cans of Sprite and handed them to the two, said, no tea, just potato chips and Sprite. Zhao Jing and Chen Rui nodded numbly, not knowing where they started to complain. So, Teacher Miaobi, can you talk about the so-called animated movie you mentioned? Zhao Jing had been very interested in the words animated movie a few days ago, but the answer he got was animated movie, which made him helpless and became even more interested. Chen Rui also nodded, indicating the same. A lot of things have happened in the past month. For example, Bilibili's a round of financing was invested by Tencent. This news also caused a sensation in the market. After all, although Bilibili is called the center of the second dimension, the act circle is so small. So many people did not expect that Tencent would invest in Bilibili. Although many people have recently paid attention to the circle due to Book of Life and Death and 100 Days of Breaking Up, that's all. Book of Life and Death could have continued to be popular because Tencent Animation and the Animation Management Bureau suppressed the growth of popularity on Weibo, Taiba and other platforms. Therefore, Book of Life and Death became very popular in Miaobi Bar. As a result, it was not popular elsewhere. The phenomenon of tepidness. Of course, the Animation and Animation Administration, Tencent Animation, and Bilibili are angry. As long as the series is online, large-scale publicity will be carried out. But other cartoonists' works still don't get attention, so Book of Life and Death is regarded as an exception. The same is true for the recently popular Breakup in 100 Days. Station B, which has received investment, has become more and more mature in 3D virtual projection technology. In addition, Susiana's song Her Royal Highness the World's #1 Princess has greatly increased the confidence of Chen Rui and other directors of the company. Of course, now only missing an opportunity, Chen Rui came here today to ask Susiana to help solve this matter. Didn't I tell you before? Susiana looked at Zhao Jing speechlessly and said, animated movies are movies made with animation. Do you think it has any other meaning? Zhao Jing and Chen Rui looked at each other, but they didn't expect that it was really what they thought. Then, Teacher Miaobi, do you want to make an animated movie? That's right, use your name as a project to make an animated movie. Susiana knew this kind of thin argument, and it was impossible to convince two people who were essentially businessmen, so in Zhao Jinghe before Chen Rui came, she had already thought of the idea of deceiving the two of them. After sorting out her thoughts, she said, think about it, why the act circle has never been popular. In addition to the style of painting, This industry has been disappointing. Even with the support of the state, it has developed like this, so how can it be possible for people to pay attention to the circle with just one or two good works now? Teacher Miyobi, I'm afraid you don't know that the number of readers in the comic circle has been growing very gratifyingly recently. If there were 10 million people reading comics regularly in the past, now in just over 2 months, according to statistics, the number has reached 30 million. A total increase of 300% is exaggerated enough. As long as Book of Life and Death is made into a TV series, the number of people will continue to increase after publicity. You know, many people don't like reading comics. As for the reason? Because comics have no sound and they don't move. That's right, it's that simple, and the painting style is not pleasing to the eye, so naturally no one likes it. And before Susiener pioneered the painting style, the number of people reading comics was declining every time, which is enough to prove the importance of the painting style to the comic industry. Are you satisfied with just this few people? Susiener looked at Zhao Jing with disdain, with an expression like, do you still have dreams? There is no specific statistics on how many people around the world like the second dimension in the past life, but Susiener knows that the number of people who like Her Highness Hatsune in the world has reached more than 300 million, so we can get a glimpse of it. So how many people like the second dimension? According to her estimate, it's almost a billion. This number accounts for about 1/7 of the world's total population. This is a terrifying number. Of course, if we classify it according to the two-dimensional forbidden syndrome, most of the billion two-dimensional enthusiasts are level 1. There are still very few true enthusiasts. Chen Rui heard this and saw Zhao Jing was speechless, so he couldn't help laughing and said, Miyobi teacher, you are still young, you don't know the significance of this increase to the circle. According to the current situation, many people in the industry speculate that the ACT circle will develop rapidly in the first 5 years, and in 10 years, the ACT circle will be popular all over the world, achieve an industry blowout, and become the most valuable emerging industry. This is because the information transmission is instant in the internet era, otherwise it will be slower. 10 years, how many decades are there in a lifetime? Susiener sighed with an old-fashioned look, which made Zhao Jing and Chen Rui laugh. Then Miyobi teacher, is there a way to increase the number of people in this circle quickly with the animated film you mentioned? Otherwise, why did I call you here? Susiener snorted, movies are one of the spiritual entertainments of people all over the world. There are countless people watching movies every year. If we make an animated movie and put it in the theater for people to watch, as long as it is well made, it can naturally give feedback to the ACT circle with this animated movie. Zhao Jing and Chen Rui were stunned when they heard this. Now the style of the comics circle is normal, and the number of people has grown to 30 million, but compared with the 2.3 billion people in the country, these 30 million are too few. And if the people who watch movies are compared with this circle, there is no comparison at all. If we compare them by income, the national box office revenue reached about 53 billion yuan last year, and what about the comics circle? It is still counting in tens of millions. This is the gap. And Susiener's sudden remarks made the two of them have a sudden realization. Zhao Jing and Chen Rui's original plan was to expand the number of people in the circle with the Book of Life and Death series as the starting point. Of course, in addition to this, Chen Rui also planned to use Sejug, the virtual singer, as a catalyst, which not only expanded the number of people, but also established the status of B station. But today Susiener said that the disguised promotion was carried out in the form of an animated film. In the past, the promotion of the ACT circle, whether it was newspapers or online news, had no effect, except for the public opinion of Book of Life and Death, but there is probably no second time for such a favorable time, place, and people. So their plan is to expand the number of ACT members in a natural way. Because now after 2 months, cartoonists have imitated Susiener's style and started to create comics. In addition, The previous incident of Yuan's light novel channel also made Zhaojing contact Su Qing to cooperate in the comic and animation of light novels. This cyclical and gradual pace made Zhaojing know that the act circle might gradually become popular, but according to what Chen Rui said before, this time might be about 10 years. As for the way of animated movies, naturally no one has thought about it, because this concept was first proposed by Susiener. But after what Susiener said just now, the two of them also made up their minds. For example, when the audience enters the cinema, it is a very novel experience to suddenly see the poster of an animated movie in a three-dimensional poster. Because, since ancient times, no animation has been able to enter the cinema, and it is still in the form of a movie. This is a disguised publicity, and under this curiosity, some people will definitely go to see it. Then as long as the quality of the animated film is good, people who have watched it will naturally discuss it online. The movie circle is not like the act circle. This is a form of entertainment for all people, or the act circle has not developed. The main spiritual entertainment methods of people in this world are novels, games, music, movies, TV series, etc. So there are a lot of people watching movies, and if the animated film can really be formed, it will be a great positive impact on the act circle. Mr. Miyobi, since you proposed the concept of this animated film and want to open the door of ACT to the outside world with animated films, do you have any plans? Zhaojing thought about it and spoke carefully. Although Susiener didn't say much, every word hit the point, which made him have to be cautious and look at her with new eyes. Plan, Susiener thought for a moment and said, I will draw the comic your name first, and then we will establish the plan for the animated film. After the animated film is produced, it will be shown in the cinema. Finally, when the audience begins to flock to the act circle, there will definitely be many excellent works in the comics industry after this period of time. By then, it will not be like now that it cannot retain new readers. Hearing this, Zhaojing and Chen Rui looked at each other and smiled bitterly. Please recommend OVO. Transformed into a comic book artist. Author, Miao Bai Shengwu. Chapter 135. That, Teacher Miyobi, we all know what you said, but there must be an important prerequisite for all of this. Zhaojing and Chen Rui looked at each other, smiled bitterly, hesitated, and said truthfully, what you said, it all has to be based on the fact that your name is a hit. Chen Rui next to him also nodded. Now he also knows why Susiener dragged him and Zhaojing over. After all, animated movies are still movies, so the best way is to find several companies to invest in the production together. Susiener must have had this idea, so she pulled Zhaojing with him. When Susiener heard this, she couldn't help but slap her head. That's right, your name is not popular yet. Zhaojing and Chen Rui have a dark line. You also know that your name is not popular yet, no. Even the comic has not been released, and neither of them knows what the plot is. Zhaojing only knew that this was a pure love theme, but Chen Rui didn't know that. He had only heard the words your name just now, and he didn't even know what the theme was. The two of them were defeated by Susiener and reset their understanding of Susiener's character again. However, despite this, Zhaojing was not angry at all. Instead, he said seriously, the concept of animated movies is very novel. I have to say that many people in the industry are not as forward-looking as Teacher Miyobi. To be honest, if it weren't for Teacher Miyobi and you were still a senior in high school, I would really like to ask you to work as a consultant at Tencent Animation. After a pause, he saw Susiener's face. With an uninterested expression, he smiled and said, of course, the concept of animated movies can be tried, so when you just explained it, Mr. Miyobi, I thought again, why not try it with Book of Life and Death? This is a good idea. Chen Rui's eyes lit up. The influence of Book of Life and Death is undoubted, and the quality is guaranteed. If it can be made into an animated film, maybe it will be feasible. Are you sure? Susiener said speechlessly, don't forget that the influence of Book of Life and Death has not yet passed, and Station B has already started to produce a series, right? If it is to be made into an animated movie, then the series must stop production. After all, TV dramas and animated movies are essentially animations. Do you think the audience will go to see animated movies after watching TV dramas? In the previous life, Little Book was made into a movie. A total of 3 films were made. Of course, the third film can be ignored. In other words, it took 2 films to complete the complete and detailed plot of Little Book, which was widely praised. If it is made into an animated movie, it is not impossible, but why should it be made into an animated movie if it is made into a TV series? Isn't this mentally retarded? Moreover, Susiener was created to produce the Your Name animated film, and its fundamental and main purpose was to train Lin Jingshu. The Your Name comics, animated movies, the ultimate goal is for Lin Jingshu, so your name must be drawn, and the animated movie must also be your name. When Zhao Jing and Chen Rui heard this, they reacted and said with embarrassment, that's right. Then let's do this, Teacher Miyobi, I can agree to invest in your name, but I need Teacher Miyobi to agree to one condition. What are the conditions? Susiener's eyes were bright, and she had just lost her mind. Although she knew that there was no your name in this world, and she believed in the quality of your name, she knew that it would become a hit. But the 2 people in front of them didn't know that, and they didn't even know the plot. Naturally, they wouldn't just follow her and make an animated movie. So now she is thinking of ways to persuade Zhao Jing and Chen Rui, but she didn't expect Chen Rui to agree. That's it? Chen Rui looked at Zhao Jing, hesitated for a while, and then spoke. After all, although this matter is a secret, it is not a particularly confidential matter. Everyone in the industry knows what virtual technology Station B is doing, but the specific situation is only Tencent headquarters understands that Zhao Jing may have received the news. I heard that in March next year, Asada Sayori will hold a month-long concert tour in the top 10 cities across the country. In another month, tickets will be sold online. The last stop will be in our Magic City. So after discussion at our B station, we wanted to have Sujug appear as a special guest at the end of Asada Sayori's concert, and then use the song The World's #1 Princess to the whole country, so that Sujug enters the public and makes his official debut. Zhao Jing looked confused next to him, what the hell is Sujug, and is he making his debut? Does Station B want to enter the entertainment industry? Susiener, who was very clear about this matter, had no objections, but I support it, but I don't know that diva, and there's nothing you can do about it. Just because someone else buys the right to cover it doesn't mean they're familiar with me. How could it be? The last time you posted on Weibo, Queen Asada and King Chen praised you together. When did that happen? Susiener said, suddenly turning her eyes and thinking of a way, I have an idea, but I can't guarantee whether it will succeed. I can only promise to try my best. Okay, seeing this, Chen Rui agreed. After all, this matter could only be discussed by Susiener. Then Chief Editor Zhao, do you want to invest in the production? Vote, why not? Zhao Jing said with a slight smile. However, Mr. Miyobi, you have been joining Tencent Animation for almost 3 months. Now you are well known throughout the country, and your reputation in the industry surpasses those of the seniors. But we at Tencent Animation have been worried about you quitting, so if possible, can we sign a long-term contract with Tencent? Now this contract cannot reflect your identity as Teacher Miyobi. As long as you sign a long-term contract, in terms of profit distribution, I will focus on you, Teacher Miyobi, and Teacher Miyobi, you just need to agree to stay with us at Tencent Animation. That's it? Susiener thought for a while and looked a little sad. After all, the reason why she didn't sign a long-term contract was to wait until she made enough money to close the contract, but now. Just when she was worried, she suddenly thought of something and couldn't help but glared, stood up suddenly and said, "That's wrong. Why does it seem like I am begging you? Gen. I almost got caught in it. The animated movie Your Name is obviously very popular, but now it seems like she is begging these two people to invest in it. As long as she draws the comics and becomes popular first, then proposes an animated movie and announces it to the outside world, won't there be a bunch of people looking for her with money? Does she still need to ask for help?" Susiener, who almost fell into the trap, expressed that she was very angry. Although Zhao Jing and Chen Rui could not foresee that Your Name would be a hit, she was still unhappy. After all, she had the idea of making Your Name. In an instant, what came to mind were these two people, bringing them prosperity together. In the end, although the two agreed, they both had conditions. I regretted it. Susiener patted the table, stared at Chen Rui and said, "You go contact the diva yourself, and I won't care about this matter." Then she said to Zhao Jing, "I will change my job tomorrow. Go away." Although Susiener said it out of anger, it still scared Zhao Jing enough. "Teacher Miyobi, calm down, we won't sign this contract, not anymore. I won't mention it in front of you anymore. We, Tencent Animation, have invested in the Your Name animated film. Mr. Miyobi, please tell me. I will never refuse." Although Susiener sounded angry, Zhao Jing didn't dare to bet. Now Susiener is a pillar of Tencent Animation. If the other party shows up with evil spirits, it will be a major blow to Tencent Animation. And Chen Rui was suddenly dumbfounded. Although he was not as panicked as Zhao Jing, he still said anxiously, "Teacher Miyobi, the Your Name movie project is also considered a part of Station B, but to contact Sayori Asada, Miyobi still needs to be contacted. Teacher, go ahead and do it. After all, you own 20% of our shares in Station B. This is for the development of Station B." Originally, Susiener owned 22% of the shares, but it was discussed when signing the contract. As long as the company financed, Susiener could contribute 2%, and the remaining 20% of the shares would not be held. Once she knows how to move, she won't take care of it even if she needs to raise funds in the future. Seeing the two people making a 180-degree turn, Susiener snorted, "Do you really want to invest?" The two nodded quickly. "Then the three of us will prepare funds together, 50 million. "What?" Zhao Jing and Chen Rui exclaimed in unison, dumbfounded. Many people feel that the protagonist time travels to Susiener and then feels that this delicate body is ruined. After all, the protagonist's personality is like this. There were comments like this before, and they were also included in the previous chapter comments, but they are gone now, and they have probably given up on the book, and then today someone privately messaged me to complain about it. After writing this chapter, I thought about it, so let's talk about it. If the protagonist is a boy at heart and becomes a girl, she must act and do things according to her own personality and living habits. If her personality changes, wouldn't this imprison the protagonist's thinking? Is the protagonist still the protagonist? Therefore, no matter what, one person had to be sacrificed, and the original body was sacrificed. Well, of course, since someone is fighting for the real Susiener, that's it. When I have time, I will write a side story, which is about the plot of the real Susiener traveling into the protagonist's body and becoming a boy, and then the fake Susiener also knows about it. The two come together for a love story that spans time and space and is astonishing to the eyes of ghosts and gods. 2333. Of course, I don't know when it will be written. I might not be able to write it until the finale. Of course, I might not be able to write it in 2 days. Don't expect anything more than that. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Transformed into a comic book artist. Author, Miao by Shen Wu. Chapter 136. 50 million, Zhao Jing's voice trembled a little, and he forced a smile and said, Teacher Miaobi, do you know how much 50 million is? And using 50 million to make an animated movie, wouldn't it be too much? If it weren't for the fear of making Susianer angry, Zhao Jing would have wanted to say, isn't this a fantasy? For TV series alone, the production cost for one episode is only 500,000 yuan. Most animations are quarterly series with 12 episodes, and a few are half-yearly series with 24 episodes. Calculated based on a 12-episode season, that's only 6 million. And this algorithm is calculated based on the highest standards, including voice actors, picture quality, op-ed, etc., and the quality is considered to be the best in this world. It seems that there is not much difference between 6 million and 50 million, only about 1/8, but this is not how it is calculated. If they had 50 million, they could produce a few more dramas to reduce the risk. There would always be one drama that could make money, but now they would just spend 50 million on the production of animated films, relying solely on Susianer's. Zhao Jing naturally didn't want to get involved in the one-sided statement. Chen Rui also reluctantly said, yes, Teacher Miaobi, you are still young, so you may not know the meaning of 50 million. Let's not talk about the distant ones, let's talk about the near ones. The script was written by screenwriter Neng Yufan and directed by Hong Liang. When Dao started filming Divinity, it was announced that it would cost 130 million. But this includes the net worth of top celebrities in the film and television industry, including the prices of other actors. It comes to almost more than 60 million. Really? The money used to make the movie is estimated to be only 60 to 70 million. There was another sentence that Chen Rui didn't say. Although there is a difference between movies and animated movies, in his opinion, it only costs more than 10 million to make an animated movie. How can you get 50 million? What kind of animation does this require so much money? The most important thing is that animated movies only need voice actors, not actors at all, and 50 million is too much. Although Bilibili has just raised funds, it is not so squandering money. After hearing what the two said, Susiener couldn't help but yawned, rubbed her eyes and felt sleepy, looked at the two people in front of her with disdain, and then said, I'm sleepy, you can go. It was obvious that Susiener didn't want to have anything to do with these two businessmen, and now she regretted calling them so excitedly. Zhao Jing and Chen Rui were confused. Then, Teacher Miaobi, are you still going to change jobs? I won't jump anymore, but I won't sign a long-term contract either. Susiener's plan was to make money before college to pay off her debts, earn a lot of gaming cash, and then stop drawing comics. Because her original purpose is to bring the style of the comics industry into the right direction. As long as the style of painting is normal, there will be countless cartoonists who can create their own works, and she can continue to enjoy the normal comics, dramas, and comics of these cartoonists as she did in her previous life. It's crazy. Therefore, naturally we cannot sign any long-term contract. Hearing this, Zhao Jing breathed a sigh of relief, then looked at Susiener and asked tentatively, what about the animated movie? We'll talk about it later. Susiener rolled her eyes, wait until I slap you in the face with my cartoon, and then I'll make you beg me. I'm waiting. Zhao Jing couldn't help laughing, and then said earnestly, Teacher Miaobi, in fact, if you want to draw in the category of pure love comics, I suggest you read more of Master Jiang's works, which may give you a great inspiration. What a fart! When Zhao Jing saw that she was going to draw a pure love comic and asked her to read 100 Days of Breaking Up, she went to take a look. This work would have been a rare masterpiece in the previous life, but in Susiener's opinion, the meaning of this work conflicts with 5 centimeters per second. And the meaning is not as profound as 5 centimeters per second. Of course, since it's not over yet, She doesn't know what will happen in the end, but it can already be seen that it's for depression. Your Name is a healing film, and the ending is even more imaginative, with a lot of room for fantasy. However, when she was single in the theater in her previous life, the protagonist and the heroine missed each other 2 or 3 times, which made her almost think it was an animated movie about treating depression. Fortunately, the hero and heroine met in the end, otherwise she would definitely have sent the razor blade. Even though it is a healing animated film, Your Name has moved all the viewers with its shock that directly touches the soul. It is not even a cure for depression, but a cure for depression, which makes people shed tears. This is Makoto Shinkai's masterpiece, making people all over the world aware of this talented animation director. So Susienner was not afraid of 100 Days After breaking up at all, and she had no idea of competing, because she was copying it for Lin Jingshu. Well, it was for that request. She originally planned to start making animated films while drawing comics, but unfortunately, that, teacher Miyobi, Sujug's matter. Chen Rui couldn't help but said when he saw that Zhao Jing had finished speaking. I heard that people who play Xinu 8 can get a add 15 boost coupon and a add 20 enhancement coupon in this DNF game. Chen Rui's face twitched and he sighed, Teacher Miyobi, I will mail these 2 enhancement coupons to you across districts when I get back. What about Sujug? Don't worry, I've just thought of a solution. Susienner looked happy. Then Teacher Miyobi, if you really want to draw Pure Love comics, you must first publish them on Tencent Animation. Your royalties will be distributed to me according to the long-term contract, and I will serialize them on Tencent Animation. This doesn't comply with the rules. Zhao Jing smiled bitterly. Then I'll go to the demonic serial. Susienner didn't care and dragged the 2 of them to come, but the serious matter didn't come to fruition, which was a waste of her life. Knowing that Susienner was speaking out of anger, Zhao Jing still said helplessly, I will discuss it when I get back and I will give you an answer before noon tomorrow. Let's go quickly, I want to play a game. You said you're tired and want to sleep? The 2 were unable to complain. After driving the 2 people away, Susienner was really tired and vowed never to talk to these businessmen again. However, the main reason was that Chen Shui was not here, so she could only do the talking. She thought about whether Susienner should consider whether to talk to these businessmen again. Find an assistant. She found that Chen Shui seemed to be very busy at ordinary times, because although Miyobi Studio was registered as a merchant on Dobayo, all studio consultations required the other party to negotiate, that is, he served as both an assistant and customer service. However, just wait until the Dobayo store recruits customer service personnel. Then she thought of Zhao Jing and Chen Rui again, and became extremely angry. The reason is that the 2 of them didn't believe in her strength, so they struggled to find each other to make animated films, which was not satisfying at all. Thinking about it, she returned to the computer in the bedroom, then opened the Miyobi Studio IT and checked the whole group. I have something to do. I want to draw a new comic. It's a pure love story. It's a short story. I plan to finish it in a month, so I need your help. Of course, even though he was helping Susienner, he would still pay. After all, he had to follow the studio's rules now. Pure Love Comics? Teacher Miyobi, are you going to compete with Master Zhang? I don't suggest you, teacher, to draw Pure Love. The other person is a master of Pure Love. It's too risky. Yes, and Book of Life and Death hasn't been finished yet. It's not too late to start a new comic after Book of Life and Death is finished. Seeing these words, Susienner typed feebly, Jingshu has recently become obsessed with Pure Love comics, so she asked me to draw something for her, not one about fighting Master Zhang. Extra is postponed indefinitely, listen to RBQS OVO. Please RBQ people give me some recommendation votes OVO. Transformed into a comic book artist. Author, Miao by Shen Wu. Chapter 137. Is today the day for Myobi teacher to publish pure love comics? Tisk tisk, if you ask me, it must be Tencent Comics that forced Myobi teacher to draw it. Book of Life and Death is still being serialized, why draw pure love? Yes, and using one's own weaknesses to attack the other's strengths, isn't this courting death? The novels, movies, and TV series adapted from Master Jiang's comics have always been popular in China. He can be said to be the top pure love master in China. Tencent Comics doesn't protect Myobi teacher well. Is it too full? Myobi teacher is the same, and must agree. It has been 7 days since Susiener was tired. Of course, she was looked down upon. She was so angry that she announced on Weibo that night that she was going to draw pure love stories, which made people in the comics industry excited. You should know that although Zhang Xinran had stopped drawing comics before, the plot of his comics was recognized in China. The name Zhang Xinran is extremely famous in the country because the movies, TV series, and even novels adapted from his comics in the early days were extremely popular and impressive. So even if people don't read comics, there are many fans of Zhang Xinran all over the country. As a result, a week ago, Myobi teacher actually said on Weibo that he wanted to draw pure love. This made people in the comics industry explode. Now almost everyone in the comics industry is a fan of Susiener. There is no way. She has created a new style of painting, expanded the circle of readers, and is a girl who draws books. Cartoonists naturally like Susiener. After all, this makes them have more fans and naturally earn more money. In addition, Book of Life and Death is really an existence that they cannot surpass, so they can only look up. But no one is optimistic about Susiener. After all, this is pure love. In suspense comics, they kneel down to watch Susiener, and in the category of pure love comics, they also kneel down to watch Zhang Xinran. In the minds of people in the comics industry, not to mention the problem of the opponent's painting style in the early days, Zhang Xinran's pure love story plot is absolutely flawless. So they don't think Susiener can win. After all, this is the category dominated by the opponent, just like Zhang Xinran will not find it uncomfortable in suspense comics. Of course, there is an important reason, that is, Myobi teacher is too young. Only 17 years old, so does Myobi teacher know about the relationship between men and women? Even if Myobi teacher has been in love, can that kind of immature first love be expressed in comics? These require rich experience to express, and it is not possible to draw such a touching story by imagination alone to make readers moved or even cry. So people in the comics industry think that Tencent Comics found Myobi teacher and asked him to draw it. After all, Myobi teacher has no need to draw pure love. Even if Zhang Xinran's 100 Days of Breaking Up is popular, it can't shake Susiener's current position in the comics industry. These days, everyone has been complaining and spraying Tencent Comics for this reason. Some people are even more speechless. It is obvious that after a few years, Myobi teacher can draw 1 or 2 more works of standard, and then his position in the comics industry will be unshakable. Tencent Comics just has nothing to do at this time. Zhao Jing is very concerned about the news on the internet these days, but he can only pinch his nose and admit it, or he caused this public opinion orientation. He naturally knew that if Susiener drew 2 more high-quality works, her position in the comics industry would be unshakable, but Susiener refused to do so and had to announce the news on Weibo. So Zhao Jing came up with this idea. Although he didn't want to get involved in the planning of the animated film, he valued Susiener very much, so he had no choice but to take the blame. Xiao Li, when Myobi teacher releases a new comic, remember to let everyone take a look and tell me what you think. Okay, Editor-in-Chief. After making a phone call, Zhao Jing sighed and could only look forward to it. He hoped that Susiener's pure love comics would not be too bad. Myobi will release the comics in a few minutes. Remember to let the editors take a good look and tell us what you think when the time comes. When Zhao Jing was helpless, the demon-like Li Yu also notified the editorial team. After the call, his face was solemn and nervous. He had to be nervous. People in the comics industry didn't know Zhao Jing of Tencent Comics, so didn't he know him? The other party must have thought carefully before letting Miyobi release Pure Love comics. What is careful consideration? That is because the comics are of high quality, so they dare to confront directly. According to Zhang Xinran, 100 Days of Breakup will be finished in about a month, so Li Yu naturally does not want to have any changes at this time. If Miyobi's comics are better than 100 Days of Breakup at this time, it means that they are nakedly stepping on Zhang Xinran's status as a master of pure love. And Zhang Xinran is the last trump card of Yu Yaokai, so Li Yu can only hope that the quality of Miyobi's comics is worse and cannot be compared with 100 Days of Breakup, otherwise he estimates that Yu Yaokai will not be able to hold on, and it is only a matter of time before it is eliminated. Editor-in-Chief, Miyobi Teacher's comics have been released, the name of the comics is Your Name. Hearing this, Li Yu quickly logged into Tencent Comics and clicked on the first episode of Susiener's comics. As soon as he opened it, Li Yu was shocked, it's actually in color. You should know that except for the second episode of Susien series which is in color, all other comics of Miyobi are in black and white. Color means Tencent Comics is cautious, or Miyobi values this comic. After flipping through the 2 pages, Li Yu breathed a sigh of relief. It turned out that only the first 2 pages were in color, and they looked more like title pages. Of course, the dialogue between the characters in the 2 pictures also made him, the viewer, feel curious. Thinking like this, Li Yu started to read it carefully. Not only Li Yu, but also cartoonists and even most readers are watching this Your Name, especially Susiener's fans, who naturally supported their idol when they learned a week ago that they were going to draw Pure Love. They did not have the considerations of cartoonists. In their opinion, it was natural to be happy to support their idol when he released a new comic. It can be said that compared with the impact of 100 Days of Breaking Up when Zhang Xinran first released it, the atmosphere of Your Name in the early stage was even more popular, leaving Zhang Xinran far behind. But Zhao Jing knew that all this was caused by Miyobi's current popularity. But when the quality of the comics is not good, when rumors appear, it will be a great blow to Susiener's own reputation. Fortunately, Zhao Jing diverted the blame and let Tencent Comics take the blame. At that time, it would be the best if the negative impact on Susiener could be greatly reduced. With this in mind, Zhao Jing also started to watch Your Name, which made him very nervous. Watch carefully and savor it carefully. The Your Name drawn by Susiener is no different from the previous life. She just adapted the background scenery and town, after all, she had to restore reality. Of course, comics are different from animated films. The theme of comics is the story plot, so it is naturally impossible to draw a large background. When Susiener asked Xiao Ai and Chen Shui to find the scenery and landforms, it was for the preparation of the animated film. As a result, Zhao Jing and Chen Rui did not appreciate it, so she could only draw comics first. However, this world is dominated by China, and some names need to be changed. The protagonist Tachibana Taki was directly changed to Taki, and Mitsuha Miyamizu naturally did not need to be changed. After all, there is really a Miyamizu village and a shrine in Lingzhen. When it is discovered, it will definitely surprise readers, so Susiener is looking forward to the appearance of this scene. The first episode of Your Name tells the story of Mitsuha Miyamizu, who longs for the big city and wants to become a boy. She is traveled back in time by the male protagonist, and then interesting things happen during the period. Of course, Mitsuha thinks this is a dream. After experiencing the Kukikamizaku incident, Mitsuha wants to become a boy even more. As a result, when she wakes up the next day, she finds that she has really become a boy. And this is what the first episode tells. When Zhao Jing looked carefully, his originally solemn face gradually relaxed, and in the end he breathed a sigh of relief. It's quite interesting. RBQS, where are my recommendation votes? Transformed into a comic book artist. Author, Miao Bai Shen Wu. Chapter 138. In the eyes of many senior editors, whether a novel or comic can attract people at the beginning depends on whether the novel or comic is interesting or not. Other than that, it is empty. Because it is interesting, it can attract readers to read on. Comics or novels like The Book of Life and Death that start with a high point are very rare, because such novels or comics have extremely high requirements for the following plot. If they cannot attract readers in the later stage, it will cause readers to become mentally fatigued, which is fatal. Fortunately, the plot of The Book of Life and Death is advancing all the way, but it is tight and exciting, making readers look forward to the reasoning duel between the two protagonists. But The Book of Life and Death is just an example, and it is difficult for a second one to be comparable. Your Name is more like a normal comic. The rhythm of the first episode is brisk, and the portrayal of the heroine is also very obvious. In addition, the plot is very interesting, so Zhao Jing breathed a sigh of relief. After all, it is only the first episode. Although it is a short story, the rhythm is fast enough. The first episode was not boring and attracted him, so it was obvious that Your Name had taken the first step to success. As for whether it could become popular, it would depend on the subsequent plot. He could not be sure that this comic would become popular just by one episode when the plot just unfolded. But Zhao Jing knew that Your Name would definitely not fail, unless the plot collapsed later. However, according to Susienner, Your Name was a short pure love story, so the possibility of plot collapse could be basically ruled out. The other party could even control the plot of Book of Life and Death. Pure love stories with simple storylines were naturally easy to handle, but the current body exchange plot was difficult to become popular, so we had to see if there would be more outstanding plots later. Thinking of this, Zhao Jing turned to the book review section of Your Name. After all, although he was sure that it would not fail, he also had to see the readers' reactions. And with just one glance, Zhao Jing knew that Your Name would not fail. I thought the book was going to fail, but the plot was actually quite interesting. I think I already know the subsequent plot. The hero and heroine should agree on a time to meet, and then they will live happily together, right? The above person underestimated the princess's intelligence. How could the princess draw such a vulgar plot? Did you notice the meteor on the opening color page? It feels like a foreshadowing, and the comics also mention meteor showers. I searched Kukikamizaku on Baidu and opened the door to a new world. On the last page, Sanyi saw the hero's black flame dragon, right? The reaction was so cute. 23,333. Although there were no comments expressing excitement, Zhao Jing was still relieved. This was only the first episode, so the plot could only be guessed, but there were no negative reviews, which meant that readers recognized the first episode very much. When Zhang Xinran's 100 Days of Breaking Up was released, although there were no negative reviews, the popularity of the comment section was not as high as Susienner's. It was not until the plot developed to a certain extent, coupled with the publicity, that the book review section was very lively now. Dong dong dong. Please come in. Editor-in-Chief, the statistics are out, Luoyang said happily as soon as he entered the door. According to the staff's statistics, more than 1 million accounts viewed Your Name in half an hour, and about 970,000 readers clicked follow the update. It is now 12:30 noon, and many people are still at work or school, so the number of viewers will reach a peak in the evening. After all, a week ago, Susienner said on Weibo that she wanted to draw pure love, so after a week of fermentation, basically everyone in the comics industry knew about it, so there were 1 million readers watching it within half an hour of its release. Zhao Jing was stunned for a moment and said in astonishment, "Really?" He looked at the comments and found that the readers' reaction was not enthusiastic, or it was weaker than the reaction of Book of Life and Death. But now the readers who follow the update that Luoyang said accounted for more than 95%. He naturally knew what this meant. This meant that more than 95% of people only clicked follow the update because they liked to read it. At that time, as long as Susiener updated the second episode, the message background would immediately prompt. And this situation shows that your name has been successful and has become popular. What was the half-hour data of 100 days of breaking up? Zhao Jing thought about it and was a little confused about this situation, because there was no phenomenon of explosion in the comment area. The half-hour data of 100 days of breaking up was 200,000 readers, and the number of people who followed the update was about 80%. Luoyang was very calm and smiled. The staff has analyzed the situation of your name. The reason why Master Jiang's data was not as good as Miyobi Teacher in the early stage is that most people in the comics industry today are fans of Miyobi Teacher, and many people are attracted by Book of Life and Death, so they naturally support Miyobi Teacher's new comics. In other words, this situation is a false impression. No, Editor-in-Chief, you still don't understand what I mean. Luoyang knew that Zhao Jing was very confused, so he explained, this situation is indeed the fan effect of Miyobi Teacher before. Because there are more fans than Master Jiang, so Miyobi Teacher naturally beats Master Jiang in the early stage, but this kind of comparison is not comparable in the early stage, but this is not a false impression. We had a small meeting just now with a few editors. According to the results of the discussion, it is because there are too few comics above the current standard in the comics industry. The readers who are attracted by Miyobi Teacher's Book of Life and Death are still not interested in comics like this. The genre is very interesting, but when these readers see comics that are all about muscle style, they naturally have no interest, so readers are in urgent need of comics with normal style to satisfy their craving. So 100 Days of Breaking Up appeared at this time. Zhao Jing suddenly said, no wonder 100 Days of Breaking Up is so popular now. That's right, it's good to have a demonic outlook. There are still very few normal style paintings, so as long as the plot is not bad, they will basically not be popular. Now many cartoonists have seen this phenomenon and are drawing new comics. But compared to the entire comic industry, there are still too few, so Master Jiang's comics and Teacher Miyobi's new works will have this phenomenon, because the quality of the two is guaranteed. Luoyang Yuan said, it's just me. I didn't expect that the number of people who were following the update for the first episode of your name would reach over 95%, which means that many readers like this comic. Then what will happen if you say your name? Zhao Jing thought of the animated movie proposed by Susiener at this time, and his heart moved slightly. This is exactly another situation I want to report to you. Luoyang smiled slightly. The two colorful pictures at the beginning of your name and the beginning of the text on the first page gave readers a suspense. With the support of this suspense, then in addition, the bodies of the male and female protagonists have traveled through time respectively, which brings the suspense to a climax. The first chapter of Teacher Miyobi ends exactly when the female protagonist time travels into the male protagonist's body, so readers are most curious at this time, and they naturally want to watch the latest episode. And I just watched it. The plot of the first episode is tight and relaxed. Whether it's the meteor shower broadcast on TV, the appearance of Seinyi's father, or even the chewing of wine, it should be foreshadowing. Yes, excellent cartoonists generally don't draw redundant pages, let alone compact short stories. At this point, I am very optimistic about Teacher Miyobi. The current plot of Book of Life and Death can be seen as average, and the two protagonists' the reasoning showdown is tense and suffocating, not to mention that your name is a short story of pure love, so Teacher Miyobi must have nailed the plot. I didn't believe in Teacher Miyobi before, but now it seems that I was wrong. The quality of the first episode of your name is obviously beyond the standard. Saying that, Zhao Jing hesitated. In this way, I heard Teacher Miyobi said that she wanted to at the speed of 2 episodes a week. Your name will be serialized in 1 month. Next, you will have someone record the data trend of your name and report it to me once a day. This is related to an important decision of Tencent Animation. Okay. RBQ who has recommendation votes cannot be offended. Oh whoa. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Transformed into a comic book artist. Author, Miao by Sheng Wu. Chapter 139. Teacher Miaobi, where's the help you promised? It's been half a month, and my Add 15 and Add 20 enhancement coupons have been given to you a long time ago. I forgot, but don't worry, Asadase Ori's tickets haven't been sold yet. I'll ask Jingsha for you when she comes back. When Chen Rui heard this, he thought the other party did it on purpose and smiled bitterly. I was wrong, Teacher Miaobi. We can talk about the animated movie you mentioned in more detail then. Haha, Susiener said disdainfully, let's talk about it then. Less than half a month has passed, and your name has been serialized to 4 episodes, and the popularity it has caused has become more and more intense. This is more than just talk. Chen Rui sat in the office, looking at the morning newspaper of Popular Entertainment in his hand, still unable to stop being shocked. Who would have thought that the ACT Circle would be so influential in popular entertainment newspapers across the country, and its pages were quite small. This was not common in the past, because the circle itself was ostracized, and most entertainment newspapers ignored them. As a result, early this morning, he actually saw it in the newspaper, and that's not all. The news on major portals was also full of your name news. Your name may become a rare pure love masterpiece in the near future. Your Name and 100 Days of Breaking Up are 2 comics that have gradually come into view in the comics industry recently. Recently, both forums and Weibo in the comics industry have been flooded with these 2 comics, comparing and criticizing each other. One after another. In the past, Your Name was not as good as 100 Days of Breaking Up. In addition to the fact that the plot of 100 Days of Breaking Up is about to be completed, it is also because of the strong guarantee of quality. As a domestic pure play, Love Everyone Zhangxin Ran, obviously maintained the standard. However, other than that, I don't see Master Zhangxin Ran surpassing himself. From a story perspective alone, 100 Days of Breaking Up is indeed good. From a moral point of view, it is extraordinary, but not profound. Your Name was originally thought to be just a common story, but in yesterday's 4th episode, it changed 180 degrees. The previous body swap romantic comedy, the 2 communicated in the form of diaries, and gradually fell in love with each other. In the 4th episode of this slightly cliched story, the cartoonists suddenly overturned the plot. The clever writing tells us that the heroine died 3 years ago, or is it that the heroine 3 years ago and the hero 3 years later swapped bodies? This is a huge conjecture, but judging from the previous article, Teacher Miaobi has actually given us hints. Chen Rui sighed and stopped reading. Like Zhao Jing, he thought that Your Name would be impossible to surpass Zhangxin Ran, but obviously they were wrong. The romantic comedy in the first 3 episodes was indeed not novel enough and even relatively cliched. As a result, in the 4th episode yesterday, it suddenly came to a sudden stop and turned around, dodging his waist. This plot twist is really too violent. The cause was the riot in the comment section of Your Name and the uproar on Weibo. Fans of Breakup in 100 Days were very confused. In the past, Weibo was their base and promoted by several first-line movie stars, so Breakup in 100 Days became more and more popular. But today they got up together and found out that they were all the people discussing Your Name were even the friends watching 100 Days after breaking up together. I have been silently following the updates. I went there for Teacher Miaobi before. I thought that even if the plot was not good, I would still support it. But unexpectedly, I was attracted by the first episode. Although there was no earth-shattering plot or anything amazing, the setting is just to exchange bodies, which is similar to the transformation in the novel, but the light comedy of the male and female protagonists swapping bodies in the comic attracted me to continue reading. As a result, I got punched yesterday. He died before? So, I want to ask for Teacher Miyobi's home address. Like most people, I am a member of the Silent Pursuit, and I also go to Teacher Miyobi. I just thought the plot of Your Name was interesting before, but now, like Book of Life and Death, I have a strong desire to follow it. The story is light but addictive. I just want to know, isn't this a cure for depression? I'm watching Your Name and Break Up at the same time. I'm very sad. There is the Yokai editorial department and the editor-in-chief's office. What's going on? Liu had a dark face. He was stunned by the large number of book reviews that suddenly appeared on Weibo, Taiba, and even the Your Name comment area today. There had never been such large-scale reviews before, or in other words, in the past 10 days or so, Your Name has received very few reviews except for the enthusiastic review section when Susiener first released it. But today it suddenly rose sharply, which made Liu wonder if Tencent Animation hired a navy. This, we don't know. It was fine 2 days ago, but the 4th episode suddenly exploded yesterday. Lin Qingzi frowned. It stands to reason that this is impossible, because we will analyze Your Name one by one. After all, the story is very ordinary. Even if the sudden plot happened yesterday, it would not be like this. Yes, this is very strange, Qianjin said doubtfully. If it weren't for the fact that there were so many people following Your Name, I would have suspected that Tencent Animation hired a fake team. Because Your Name is very interesting. Seeing the confusion of the three people, Zhang Xinran explained with a smile, you can't just look at the surface. The story of Your Name is indeed very weak, even a bit cliché. But Miyobi has a very balanced grasp of the plot of the male and female protagonists, which means that as long as you watch it, you will be attracted, and then gradually become unable to extricate yourself. If the plot continues like this, it will tend to be mediocre, but now it shows that the plot has a very strong big reversal, which makes readers who are accustomed to bland and light comedy stories suddenly feel uncomfortable. This is the reason why they suddenly riot. Awesome, Liu was puzzled. Master Zhang, can you tell me more specifically? If nothing else, let's just say that after replacing the soul in Your Name, the male protagonist can't help but touch the heroine's breasts, and the heroine will be embarrassed to go to the toilet. Although this is reasonable, it is not a way to attract you. What's the point? Seeing the three people nodding involuntarily, Zhang Xinran continued, and Miyobi's extremely light story technique is very attractive. With the replacement of souls, the male and female protagonists slowly change each other's lives. The love that is played in the distance is full of incredible and magical. When the male and female protagonists gradually integrate into their own lives, they will be unforgettable. This is another attractive point. These 2 points have made many readers immersed in this magical yet magical. The bland story goes away, so when the two lose contact, the reader explodes. The most important thing is that the previous article left a lot of doubts. Lin Qingzi suddenly blurted out. That's right, Zhang Xinran nodded. Pure love, whether it is comics or novels, is not as good as other categories in terms of storytelling, because pure love is not pure when it is complicated. This point is mastered very well. It tells a love story between a boy and a girl. Although there are some doubts in the previous part, it is obviously a preparation for the subsequent plot, which will make readers look forward to it even more. On the contrary, my 100 days of breaking up is too heavy. Having said this, Zhang Xinran sighed, the mature technique of Your Name may have taught me something less. Hearing this, the three of them were silent. Zhang Xinran said this. Does that mean that 100 days after breaking up is not as good as Your Name? It's too late to go home, Ovo. Transformed into a comic book artist. Author, Miao Bai Shen Wu. Chapter 140. Teacher Miyobi, Come out. I want to send the blade. Teacher Miyobi, please don't draw tragedies. Your Highness the princess has something to say. As long as the hero and heroine can live together happily, I can do anything you want. I can't watch Book of Life and Death anymore today. Just thinking about this plot, I'm going to have a myocardial infarction. Searched Can on Google. Susiener looked through the comments, and they all told her not to draw tragedy. She thought your name was going to be a hit, but she didn't expect it to take a turn. There is no way, the popularity seems to be very poor in the past. However, Susiener doesn't know that your name has always been very popular. Judging from the data alone, it's just as popular as you can imagine. It's just because the storyline is relatively light and not as exciting as Book of Life and Death, so naturally people won't publish anything. Comments are all reviewed after reading. As a result, the latest episode was posted last night, and it went viral. Countless comments came out, which made Susiener relieved. I thought the comic version of your name was about to hit the streets. After all, comics are indeed incomparable with animated movies. Animated movies have a frame that can be used as a wallpaper, and a soundtrack that can be played on repeat all day long, not to mention the theme song. The storyline of animated movies is very rich. After all, comics cannot cover all aspects. Drawn, so comics and animated movies cannot be compared. But now it seems that it is not a rush to the street, but this group of comic readers who have been diving, and now they are blown out by her. Of course, the most important thing is that if she fails, then Lin Jingshu will definitely have a reason to refuse her request, so she is very nervous, thinking that she will fall short. Thinking of this, she breathed a sigh of relief, got off her chair and went to Lin Jingshu's room. After all, Chen Rui kept urging her. As a result, before taking 2 steps, Lin Jingshu opened her door and looked at her with round eyes. Isn't this a tragedy? Yesterday, because the teacher assigned a lot of homework, Lin Jingshu did not read it immediately. After reading it today, she came directly to Susiener. Answer. Wait a minute. Lin Jingshu said with a troubled expression, forget it, it's better not to say anything. If Susiener said it, wouldn't it be a spoiler? Hearing this, Susiener was speechless. Don't talk about it for now. I have something to do with Asada Saori. Can you contact her? Yes, but the other party is usually very busy as a queen, so I rarely contact her. Sister Saori always comes to me. Looking for you to trade with Pi. Girls, don't say bad words. Lin Jingshu rolled her eyes at Susiener. Why are you looking for an idol? Is it about music? After saying that, she became excited. Is there a new song? In Lin Jingshu's opinion, Susiener had never approached Asada Saori before, and now she was probably frustrated with the arrangement, so she wanted to contact him. Humph, don't even think about listening to new songs. If you want to listen to the songs, you have to pay the price. I asked Asada Saori so that I can count money until my hands cramp in the future, so I asked her for help. After all, I hold 20 shares of Bilibili. If I work a little hard now, I can just lie down and count the money in the future. When the time comes, the subsequent income from Station B, MiHoYo, the studio, and comics will definitely allow her to live a happy life as a rice insect for the rest of her life. Ignoring each other's resentful expressions, the two came to the computer. Then Susiener watched the other person log in to QQ, then clicked on an avatar and sent a message, "Is Sister Shaji here?" "You two are so familiar," Susiener was surprised. "Every time Sister Shaji comes to me, I ask her questions about music, so I'm familiar with it." Lin Jingshu plans to graduate and go to the Huaxia Conservatory of Music, and she is naturally interested in music, so every time Asada Shaji comes to chat with her, she would take the opportunity to ask questions. Asada Saori also liked Lin Jingshu, a gentle and quiet girl, and wanted to bring her into the entertainment industry, so she naturally answered her questions. It seems that we are all striving for our dreams. As soon as Susiener finished speaking, she said dissatisfied, "What's that expression on your face? I only see you playing games online all day long, but I don't see you fighting for your dreams," Lin Jingshu said with disdain. "Also, the class teacher is very angry recently. You have been absent from class for a long time. If you don't go to class, the teacher will scold you." Lin Jingshu used to take care of Susiener, but she refused to repent and skipped classes as hard as she could, so she stopped taking care of her. Of course, no matter what the reason is, Susiener will not lose her grades even if she skips class, otherwise she will definitely nag the other person's ears or even force the other person to go to class. Like Lin Jingshu, there is Jo Kinja. There are really too many students in the class and she can't manage them. After all, the second half of the third year of high school is approaching and she is even busier. As a result, Susiener has fallen. Now she has no choice but to add the opponent's grades didn't drop, and he couldn't find a reason to tell Yayuking. After all, Yayuking only cares about grades. According to Yayuking, as long as Susiener's grades didn't drop, she couldn't care about the rest. As for Susiener's dead look, Jo Kinja was helpless and could only secretly hate those online games for harming people even more. Hey, learn to waste your life and waste your time. If you have the strength, you might as well make your life more meaningful. You just play games online every day to make money and troll people, Lin Jingshu snorted, obviously already knowing Susiener very well. Sayori Asada, Xiao Jingshu, what do you want from me? Kiss emoticon. While the two were talking, Asada Sayori suddenly texted back. Lin Jingshu, Sister Sayori, I am not the one who is looking for you. It is Susiener who is looking for you. Pitiful expression. Asada Sayori, wonderful pen? Surprised expression. Lin Jingshu, yes. Questioning expression. Asada Sayori invites you to a video call. Wait, Susiener stopped Lin Jingshu and said disdainfully, why do you need a video call? Sister Sayori has wanted to see you for a long time, but you have been ignoring us, Lin Jingshu complained. I have been looking for you for several times, but you are playing games. Okay, now Susiener is asking for help. Asada Sayori is now the boss, and the other party can do whatever he wants. When she clicked to accept, Lin Jingshu pulled Susiener to the position and asked her to face the camera. When Asada Sayori looked at a cute little loli suddenly appearing in the video with a curious look, she couldn't help but say with love in her eyes, so cute, are you the wonderful pen teacher? Susiener didn't say anything, but looked at Asada Sayori curiously and found that the other party was indeed very beautiful. Although she was already 40, she is over 10 years old, but her beauty remains unchanged, still graceful and charming. Ms. Asada, I want to talk to you today about something. Although Asada Sayori did not hear Susiener's answer, she looked at Susiener's serious face and said with a cute business-like look, really? What's the matter? It's like this, aren't you going to have a concert? I heard that the last stop is in Shanghai, and I want to be your special guest. Huh, at this time, Lin Jingshu and Asada Sayori were surprised. No, Susiener slapped her head, it's my clone. After hearing this, the two were even more confused. Oh, it's a virtual singer projected by 3D virtual projection. The two did not understand and were confused. Susiener sighed and could only start a long explanation. I saw that it was 1:30, so I went to bed quickly. Epsilon, 3. Please vote for recommendation. Transformed into a comic book artist. Author, Miao by Shen Wu. Chapter 141. Is technology so advanced now? After Susiener explained to the two, Lin Jingshu looked incredible, but Asada Sayori was not surprised, and obviously knew more. That is to say, Bilibili created a virtual singer named Sujug based on the prototype of the cute girl, Asada Sayori looked at Susiana with sparkling eyes. Is Sujuga a younger sister or an older sister? Susiana's mouth twitched. She couldn't stand the name of cute girl. It was not as good as Little Fairy. She was also very speechless about Asada Sayori's focus. It's just a clone. Susiana didn't want to talk to the other party more. After all, she was not familiar with the other party, well, not familiar. Your request is not impossible, but I also have a request. What request? Susiana had been prepared for a long time. After all, there is no free lunch in the world, not to mention trading with celebrities. How can it be done without paying a price? But she had already thought about it. She would just give her 1 or 2 songs. Although she was a queen of the music industry, she had heard from Lin Jingshu that Sayori Asada had not released any new albums or singles in the past year. She was obviously very picky about songs. She could just pick 1 or 2 songs and give them to her. I want your autograph. No problem, huh? What? After she finished speaking, Susiana reacted and was shocked. Looking at the cunning look in Sayori Asada's smiling eyes, Susiana couldn't help but snorted, we are talking about business, don't joke. That serious little face made Sayori Asada like her even more. I'm serious. I'm your fan, Mr. Miyobi. I've been following the Book of Life and Death and I'm also following the latest Your Name. Sayori Asada blinked. She was in her 40s but had a playful feeling at this time. In fact, it would be fine even if Lin Jingshu and Susiana came together at the concert. At her position, she would not consider all aspects of the problem. As the top sister and even the pillar of a group, Asada Sayori can do whatever she wants as long as it does not harm the interests of the company. This is the privilege of the kings and queens, and the reason why Asada Sayori held a tour concert in the top 10 cities in the country is because her fans have not heard her new songs for too long, so she felt guilty and held a tour concert. As for adding a few special guests, it is naturally harmless, and it is even just a small matter. Of course, not just anyone can be her special guest. Many people are trying their best to show up at her concert, and even the company's senior management wants to let some newcomers on stage, but she strongly rejected them. She just wants to hold a concert simply, so she will naturally not do such things that damage her image. However, Susiana is different. In addition to singing old songs, the main content of the concert is to cover Sakura Sakura Wants to See You, so if Susiana, the author, wants to go on stage, she will naturally not refuse. Unfortunately, she is just a virtual singer. Obviously, Asada Sayori still had a very vague concept of virtual singers, and she didn't even care much about it, not knowing that this was a cross-era technology that broke the dimensional wall. Really? Of course it's true. I really can't do anything with you. Since you admire me so much, send me your address and I'll mail you the autograph in 2 days. Susiana obviously wouldn't refuse such a request. A signature can make a virtual singer appear on stage. Such an easy thing, naturally she quickly agreed. Looking at the girl in front of her with a face that said you've made a lot of money, Asada Sayori curved her eyes and said with a smile, I want an autographed photo, not just an autograph. And you send me your home address first, and then I'll mail you 2 sets of clothes. When the clothes arrive, you 2 take a photo together and then sign and mail them to me. I don't know what she was thinking of, Asada Sayori showed a touch of excitement. Clothes, Susiana had a bad feeling, she suddenly said, I don't wear skirts. Of course not skirts, I know you don't like to wear skirts. Hearing this, Susiana glanced at Lin Jingshu next to her. Seeing that the other party's eyes flickered and she didn't dare to look at her, she knew that the other party had exposed some of her habits. Anyway, as long as it's not a skirt. Susiana jumped off the chair, okay, everything has been discussed. When the time comes, I will let the chairman of Station B contact you. That's it, I'm going to play games. Wait, what game are you playing? Let's play together. Susianer was a little messy. Are all the queens so idle? Thinking about it, she just pretended not to hear it and ran away. Seeing this, Asada Sayori was angry and amused. Is she so scary? Sister Sayori, she is just like that, don't blame her. How could that be? Sayori Asada narrowed her eyes, then thought of something and said, I will go home and mail those 2 clothes to you now, remember to wear them when the time comes. Okay. At this time, Susianer was calling Chen Rui, asking him to contact Sayori Asada. As a result, after she hung up the phone, Zhao Jing called. Knowing Susianer's personality, Zhao Jing went straight to the point and said, Mr. Miyobi, I think we can talk about the animation film plan again. Zhao Jing has been paying attention to the data trend of your name these days. Although the number of comments in the book review area has not increased much, the increase in data is gratifying. In other words, compared with the early increase of 100 days of breaking up, your name is a total blow to the other party. 100 days after breaking up had the help of first-line movie stars to promote it, coupled with a devilish publicity plan, but it still couldn't withstand the pressure of your name today. Obviously your name is a real quality film, so Zhao Jing thought of the animated film Susianer mentioned again. He didn't think about it seriously before, but he thought of what Susianer said last time, and animated movies are obviously a new concept. As long as Tencent Animation is produced, it will be the first company to try it. And as the first animated film, its significance within the circle is extraordinary. Of course, the most important thing is that your name is a comic that gradually ferments and has endless aftertaste. Today's plot has exploded countless lurking readers, allowing Zhao Jing to see the readership base of your name. This is the reason why Zhao Jing made this call. Hee. Seeing that Susianer didn't say anything and just replied hee, Zhao Jing said slightly embarrassed, Teacher Miyobi, you have to think about it for me. Last time you proposed this concept, I actually supported it, but 10 million is too much even if it is provided by a third party. With so much money to make an animated film that we don't know how it will be received at the beginning, naturally we can't agree to it easily, and I don't have the authority. Susianer rolled her eyes, but she didn't talk to the other party anymore. I'll call Chairman Chen and talk to YY. If you guys run away again this time, I'll find someone else. No problem. It seems a little stuck, Epsilon, 3. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Transformed into a comic book artist. Author, Miao by Shen Wu. Chapter 142. On YY. Zhao Jing gave a wry smile, wouldn't he be giving him eye drops? People from Tencent don't play QQ but YY. However, thinking of Susianer's usual careless appearance, it was obvious that she would not mince words like this, just like Susianer just said haha to express ridicule. Thinking about it, Zhao Jing took advantage of Susianer to contact Chen Rui and said to Luoyang next to him, have you thought of a way? Unexpected. What do you think of this? Luoyang looked helpless and dumbfounded. I think we have to start with games. Doesn't Miyobi really like playing games? But Tencent Games and Tencent Animation are not the same department, Zhao Jing said with a headache. If we directly invite Miyobi to attend the annual meeting, do you think she will go based on her personality? Last time I asked her to come to the company for discussion, she said it was very cold outside. If she doesn't come, Chairman Chen from Station B and I will have to go directly to her home. It's getting closer to New Year's Day, and at the end of every year, Tencent Animation and Yu Yaokai jointly hold an annual meeting, which is a gathering where well-known cartoonists are invited to gather together. Last year, there was a demonic event held in Yanjing. This year, Tencent Animation is hosting it, so naturally it will be in Shanghai. Of course, There are also some comics industry awards announced at the annual meeting. For example, the reward rankings of the newcomer competition are also announced at the annual meeting. So Susienner, one of the pillars of Tencent Animation, they naturally want to invite each other. If Susienner didn't come, this annual meeting would be much less interesting, or rather boring. After all, Susienner alone has turned the comic industry upside down this year and changed the style of the entire comic industry. If there is no Susienner in this year's annual meeting, then this year's meeting probably won't have any special meaning in the minds of many people, and it will be almost the same as in previous years. So Zhao Jing and Lu Yang were racking their brains on how to invite Susienner. This was why Zhao Jing called Susienner and wanted to take the opportunity to invite him. But when they thought of Susienner's lazy and heartless character, their heads ached. I heard that teacher Miyobi is addicted to the game DNF recently. It is owned by Tencent. How about I ask the Xinyu game department to give her some privileges? Your privilege has been taken advantage of by Chairman Chen a long time ago. Thinking of what enhancement coupons Chen Rui used to reach an agreement with Susienner at Susienner's house last time. Although Zhao Jing has never played this game, he also knows that it is probably a very rare thing. Now that Lu Yang has proposed it, Susienner is probably I have no desire anymore. Thinking about this, Zhao Jing was both angry and funny. Why would such a serious business event be related to games? Lu Yang also wanted to laugh. Then you have to ask teacher Miyobi. And I think cartoonists who can participate in the annual meeting should be proud of it, right? Do you think Miyobi would consider this an honor and come over to participate? Lu Yang was speechless for a moment, and then said painfully, I think she will reply to us not interested. It's good to know. Rubbing his forehead, Zhao Jing thought hard and said, aren't you in the group of Miyobi Studio? I remember that the other party often hangs out in this group. Is there anything that the other party is interested in recently? Things of interest, Lu Yang pondered for a while, and then his eyes lit up. It's true, it's about the game DNF. A week ago, Miyobi complained in the group that he played late, so he couldn't buy last year's National Day fashion. Here it is, I think the tone sounds very regretful. What National Day fashion? It seems that the fashion appearance of this game is better, so teacher Miyobi is very sorry because it is no longer available for purchase. Hearing this, just when Zhao Jing was about to speak, his cell phone rang. When he saw that it was Susienner, Zhao Jing said to Lu Yang, that's it, you go to Tencent Games Manager to talk about the situation here. After all, it's all the parent company wouldn't agree to this request, right? And I remember that the other party had pestered us to ask Mr. Miyobi to draw a vertical painting for their King of Glory. Although it didn't happen, the favor is still there. Lu Yang could only nod helplessly and said, okay, I'll call and talk now. As Lu Yang went out to make a call, Zhao Jing answered Susienner's call, and then logged into YY and entered the channel. Are you all here? As soon as Zhao Jing entered the YY channel, he heard Susienner's voice with a tone of disdain, if I had known now, why did I do it in the first place? This animated movie was going to be made anyway, so why not do it now? Come and talk to me. What can Zhao Jing and Chen Rui say? I can only admit my mistake honestly. Teacher Miyobi, the recent response to your name has been very good, and the 4th episode just happened to be stuck at a suspense point. I think if we really want to make an animated movie, can you delay the update? Delayed update, Susienner was curious, while Chen Rui listened quietly. After all, this was a matter in the comics industry, and he was an outsider. That's right, although I haven't written or thought about comic plots for a long time, I still have some research on comics classified as pure love. After sorting out his thoughts, Zhao Jing continued, generally speaking, comics classified as pure love it won't be too complicated, because as long as pure love is complicated, it is basically difficult to become popular. Therefore, most pure love stories are very simple and simple stories, but if such a story is to be put on the screen, we can't let readers know the ending first. Zhao Jing has been thinking about the animated film project Your Name these days, and the more he thinks about it, the more he thinks that Susiener's idea is good. But since it is going to be an animated film, the plot of the story should not be fully known to readers. Movies or TV series adapted from novels are expected by readers because novels are just what readers imagine in their own minds, so they expect how the TV series or movies will express what they imagine in what form. But comics are different. Although comics also have this expectation, the sense of picture has been fully presented to readers. And Pure Love is not like other types of comics. Even if it is animated, it is very attractive. Not to mention that it has to be made into an animated film. If readers know the plot and the animated film is made, will they still buy movie tickets to watch it in the cinema? If you have already felt the throbbing emotions of the male and female protagonists from the comics, will you still be moved when you go to the cinema to watch it? Only when you watch it for the first time will you be moved by the pictures needed by the music and the story. Instead of going to the cinema to watch it simply to support the author after knowing the plot. The first time is always different. And if an animated film is made, it will be completely different from a comic. Comics are always one-sided, but animated films can show all aspects, giving the audience different feelings. As the editor-in-chief of Tencent Animation, Zhao Jing has just learned about the concept of animated films, but his years of experience as an editor tell him that if Your Name is really confirmed, then Susiener must stop updating. Please vote for recommendation OVO. Transformed into a comic book artist. Author, Miao Bai Shen Wu. Chapter 143. Oh, then stop updating. Originally, Zhao Jing wanted to say a few more words to persuade Susiener, but halfway through, he heard Susiener's voice agreeing, which surprised him a little. After all, this was the comic that the other party took the initiative to draw, and they couldn't stop it. Why did they start to be sensible now? But since Susiener agreed, Zhao Jing thought that the recent plot of Your Name was interrupted in the 4th episode, which should be able to whet the appetite of readers. At that time, they will directly hold a press conference and propose the concept of an animated film, which will naturally calm the readers. After all, this concept is novel enough, there are enough news points, and it is enough for readers to look forward to. Of course, the Tencent Animation will definitely take the blame for Susiener's suspension of updates. Then let's talk about the animated film. Chen Rui saw that the two had finished the agreement, so he said, "What are the production requirements for this animated film, Mr. Miyabi, what are you going to do?" "I have 3 requirements." Susiener is still looking forward to the first appearance of the animated film in this world. After watching Your Name in her previous life, she deliberately lingered several times, because watching it in a movie and watching it on a computer are 2 different feelings just from the picture. First, every frame of the animated film must achieve the effect of wallpaper. Second, the picture restores reality. Third, the voice actor must be professional. No wonder it costs so much money. Zhao Jing suddenly realized it after hearing it. Before, Susiener said that the production cost would be 50 million, and he was still thinking that a movie would only be 100-120 minutes, and even if it was made into a TV series, it would only be about 5 episodes. Would it cost so much money? Now he heard Susiener's wallpaper effect, and he reacted. Every frame must achieve the effect of wallpaper, so the production cost is very high, and even 50 million may not be enough. I know the first and third points. But what does the second point mean? Chen Rui looked confused. He restored the reality. He knew every word, but he didn't understand it when they were put together. Look at the public screen. The two looked at the YY public screen. Susiener posted a few pictures. Zhao Jing clicked on them and felt a sense of familiarity. He was confused. Then he thought of something and said in shock, "Isn't this that? That, isn't it the scene in the comics?" in the comics. For a moment, Zhao Jing was a little incoherent. At this time, Luoyang pushed the door open and was about to speak. Seeing this, he whispered curiously, "What's wrong?" Zhao Jing took a deep breath, waved his hand, and asked Luoyang to come and take a look at the pictures in front of him. This. Luoyang was also dumbfounded. Isn't this a scene in the comics? In the third episode Your Name, there is a plot about the hero and the heroine exchanging souls and carrying their grandmother to the top of the mountain. The strange terrain is naturally impressive. In addition, the previous scenes did not give any close-ups of the scenery, so those scenes are extremely precious. The waning moon lake and the bowl-shaped concave mountain top really make people sigh at the wonders of nature, but they all thought that it was Susienner's imagination that drew it, but seeing these realistic photos, Luoyang began to doubt his life. This terrain exists in reality. Chen Rui reacted from the shock, and he didn't know what he was thinking about, and a surge of excitement suddenly emerged from the depths of his heart. Nonsense, this was taken in Wudu. Although there is artistic processing in the comics, these terrains are real. And there is a Gongshui village in Wujuling town, which has a shrine. The villagers are all surnamed Gongshui, and the mountain top is where Gongshui village worships the gods. Miyobi teacher, are you saying, did you adapt the story of Your Name according to reality? The story is what I thought of, but the terrain is real. Then, where does the male protagonist Yanjing live? It's also real. Susienner said and put a few more photos. After clicking on it, the male protagonist's school, the place where he works, and the coffee shop where the female protagonist went after the first soul replacement all made the three of them feel familiar. Although the comics only showed a partial picture, the three of them knew that all of this was drawn according to reality. Zhao Jing felt a sense of admiration for Susienner at this moment, and couldn't help saying, no wonder Miyobi teacher wants to make an animated film. It turns out that you have thought about it a long time ago. Why didn't you say it earlier? If he had said it earlier, he would have agreed directly during the last negotiation. Zhao Jing naturally knew what this meant. No comic had ever been depicted according to the real terrain. Good comics can influence reality, and this so-called influence on reality is only the media and public opinion that influence reality, which represents a kind of influence. For example, Book of Life and Death was a sensation at the time. This is a kind of influence, but if Your Name is really made into an animated film, the more than 100-minute movie can fully show the audience the scenes of the female protagonist's village and the male protagonist's city. As long as Your Name is popular, it will affect the real reality. Even, if possible, this foggy town in the photo might become a tourist attraction. Zhao Jing was shocked by the idea that popped up in his mind, but, the more he thought about it, the more possible it became, and the more excited he became, because the scenery in the photo really meets the characteristics of all tourist attractions. The Canyu Lake, the strange landforms, and the pleasant scenery, these points alone may be a little thin to form a tourist attraction. But what if this place is the terrain in an animated movie? Is it the place where the hero and heroine live? And what if this animated film becomes popular? What an amazing idea. Everyone present was not stupid, so they understood it immediately. Luoyang even sighed, the restoration of reality alone is enough to make people linger. Mr. Miyobi, this animated film project has been invested by Bilibili. Although Chen Rui is not a professional comic editor, he is a qualified businessman. The first animated film, The Restoration of Reality, is an extremely attractive gimmick. The combination of the two is enough to attract most audiences to the theater. Then, according to what Susienner said, every frame is made into a wallpaper, which will definitely win people's hearts. In addition, with the good reviews of Your Name, if he lets the opportunity slip away, he will be a chairman in vain. 50 million seemed a lot before, but now it seems that he feels it is far from enough. As long as your name is perfect and the influence of this animated film is deeper, it will definitely shock major media. Tencent Animation has also invested. Zhao Jing wanted to discuss it on YY Now, but it felt a bit ridiculous, so he paused and said, "How about this, Teacher Miyobi, let's find a time to talk and then sign a contract. I'm telling you, I want to invest too. If you don't invest in me, I won't sell the copyright to you." "No problem," Zhao Jing and Chen Rui agreed directly. After all, in the process of making animated films, they felt that they had to consult Susianer on some things. After speaking, Zhao Jing saw Luoyang winking at him, and suddenly realized that the annual meeting had not invited the other party yet. After hesitating for a while, Zhao Jing said, "Teacher Miyobi, it's almost New Year's Day, and after New Year's Day, Tencent Animation will hold an annual meeting exclusively for cartoonists, so do you want to attend?" After speaking, Zhao Jing waited for Susianer to refuse. As long as the other party refused, he would tempt the other party with the costume of the game. "Annual meeting? I'll go." "Is that so?" Zhao Jing was about to speak, but when he realized what was going on, he looked confused. Why did he agree? This was not a routine move. Luoyang was also confused. He had already discussed it with the head of Tencent Games, but it was useless. Although he was puzzled, Zhao Jing quickly chatted with Susianer privately and sent her the address of the annual meeting to prevent her from going back on her word. When the YY meeting was over, Susianer was satisfied and ready to continue playing games. As a result, halfway through the game, Susianer suddenly slammed the table. Because she just remembered that she drew your name for Lin Jingshi's request, and now she was making an animated film, so during the delay in updating, wouldn't that request also be delayed?